This is Amud Yomi, Gemara Berachos Daf Mem Hey Amud Aleph. Baruch Hashem, we begin a new parak, the seventh parak of Maseches Berachos, Kitzad Mevarchem, a parak which will begin discussing the halachos of Zimun, Berachos Hamazon, etc. Says the Mishnah, Mem Hey Amud Aleph, Shalisha Sha'achlu Kachas. Three people who eat together ke'achas as one, chayavin lezamin, are chayav, a critical word. Not if you want. It's an obligation, lezamin, to join in a zimun. To join in a zimun, as Rashi points out, what does that mean? Lehizdamin yachad, litzreif bracha, to combine their bracha, b'lashin rabam, kegoin nevarich. Ochal demai. If one ate bread of demai, umaiser rishon l'trumasa, maiser rishon, that truma was taken, maiser sheni v'hektish nifta, maiser sheni or hektish that was redeemed, v'hashamash kizayis, or a waiter that ate a kizayis of bread, v'hakuti, or a kuti that eats together with someone, mizamnin alav. In all of these cases, these are cases of zimun. Says the Mishnah, excuse me. Achal tevel, if one ate tevel, or umaiser rishon shloi natzal trumasa, or a maiser sheni v'hektish shloi niftu. Again, all these cases in which it's forbidden to eat these items. V'hashamash achal pachas migzayis, or shamash that eats less than exayis of bread. V'hanachi, or a guy, ein mizamnin alav. There's no case of zimun in these cases. Says the Mishnah, women, children, or slaves, or women, children, or slaves, or women, slaves, and children in English. There's no din of zimun. Ad kama mizamnim. What is the minimum amount one has to eat in order to have a zimun? Ad kizayis. Rav Yudah Omer ad kibeya. Says the Gemara, before we get anywhere else, what's the source? What is the makar for the din of zima? Minani mili amar avasi damar kra gadlula Hashem itin ramah shemayachtav. Declare the greatness, the roimimus of Hashem, and exalt His name together. When I call it to Hashem, you ascribe in the plural greatness to Hashem. Again, showing that there's a greatness, there's a elevation when Hashem's name is said in the plural, not just one person. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Chanan bar Abba. Says Rav Chanan bar Abba, we're smack in the middle of the Amar, the first one line is Amar, Minayin Lama Amin. Where do we know that one says Amin to a bracha? Again, a little bit of a left turn over here, a sidebar almost, just because it's going to be the same Makar. How do we know that when someone says Amin, the Amin should not be louder than the one that says the bracha shenemar? Kadula Hashem itinurama shemai yachdav, and unurama shemai yachdav, together we're exalting Hashem's name. Says the Gemara, one should not be louder than the other. Shimon Pazi, in a similar vein, the Metargman, a person who used to call out the translation of the Torah, is not able to say his voice more than the one that is reading. Shein Talmud loymar bikol. Why did the Torah say bikol? That Hashem answered with a voice. Matam loymar bikol. What's the reason? Bikol loy shel Moshe. We darsha that Hashem responded with the voice of Moshe, showing us that the voices have to be equal. Tanami hachi, inam targum rashi like be a kol yosem navarech. V'mi efshar, if it's impossible to targum like be a kol kineged hakar, if it can't be equal, yemayich hakarei kolav yikra, then the reader should lower his voice and read so that they are equal. Meaning, if the Baal Kairi is naturally louder and the Metargum is quieter, so that's a problem also. It's just Yesh the Metargum to be as loud as the Baal Kairi, then the Baal Kairi should lower his voice so that they're on the same level. Itmar, at the end of the narrow lines, continues the Gemara. Now, that was a little bit of a sidebar din in learning from the same Makar as a Mishnah. Again, we just really went there because the Mishnah taught us that the din of zimun is learned from Gadol Hashem iti, From there, we learned that another din of Yachtov, that the Amen should be the same loudness as the bracha, the Metargim should be the same loudness as he who is reading. Now we go back into the Etzim din of Zimun, Itmar Shnaim Zachul Kachas, two people eat together, then Pligi Rava v'Rav Yechlan. Chad Amar Imratz Lazam Mizamnin. If they want, they could join into a Zimun. V'Chad Amar Imratz Lazamin Ein Mizamnin. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, Shloisha she'achlu ke'achas chayav nezamnin. Clearly, Shloisha in, Shnayim loy. Says the Gemara, no, Hasam chayva. A Shloisha, if it's three people, it's a chayav. Hacha rishos, but two people, the Gemara sticks to its guns, is a rishos that you're allowed to be mizamin. Tashema, the Gemara tries to prove again on the third wide line. Says the Brisa, Shloisha chlachas chaven lezam vein rishayin lechalik, and they're not able to separate. Shloisha in, Shnayim loy. Sounds like if two people, then one of them is allowed to leave. So says the Gemara, excuse me, what's the raya? Says Rashi. Yeah, let's read this Rashi together. Shloisha ein shnayim loy hachi perushay. Demidik tani ein rishayin lachalik. From the fact it says you're not allowed to split up. Shemamina de shloisha mizamnim shnayim im mizamnim va'afilu ratzu. And we see from here that even if two people want, diamrit shnayim nami. What's the right? Because if two people are allowed to imratzu mizamnin, amay ina echad rashay lachalik. Why can't one leave? Lezel, let him leave. Meaning, it said we have three people. They can make him a zimun and no one can leave. Says more 1 second. If even two people are allowed to make a zimun, so what's the problem? Let the third guy leave and the two guys left will be able to make a zimun. For the fact that said that none of them are allowed to leave proves to us that two people can't make a zimun. Answers the Gemara, no raya shiny hasam to kavalei chayva mei karam. Now, once there's three people, it's a chiyuv. So you can negate the chiyuv, but it doesn't necessarily prove that two cannot be a zimun. So one more, says the Gemara, Tashema, 3 lines to the bottom, a waiter is serving two people, is allowed to eat with them even without rishos. But if he's a waiter for three people, he's seemingly what's going on over here. The reason why he's allowed to eat with them is because then he elevates them to become a zimun. Whereas three people, he can't eat with them because they already have a zimun. But says the Gemara, 1 second. But if two people were able to make a zimun, then what should the difference be? Even by two people, the waiter shouldn't be able to eat with them. Answers the Gemara, shiny hasam, it's different over there. Why? As we turn over to Memhei Mebeis, they're happy that it should be a chiyuv. So two people, the reason why the waiter is allowed to eat with them, because now it elevates it to a chiyuv. But again, we don't necessarily have a raya. And pick it up tomorrow, and we'll continue trying to prove whether two people are allowed to make a zimun or not.